Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Magnum Gold Corp, MGI and the TSX Venture Exchange. A 2015 drill program on the LH property intersected several high-grade gold intersections, including 11 meters of 20.66 grams per ton gold. Additional drill targets on the LH property have been identified by a 2018 drone airborne magnetic survey to further evaluate a pyrrhotite-enriched gold-bearing system. Please visit our website at magnumgoldcorp.com.
Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Sharon Noble, Director of the BC Coalition to Stop Smart Meters. Welcome back to the show, Sharon.
Hello, Jim. Thank you.
Sharon, you've had countless correspondence with the BC government about your concerns about microwave towers and smart meters. How much of a response have you received yet?
We've had absolutely none. And it's not just me, Jim. It is consistent that every politician and every bureaucrat, and I don't care which party it is, nobody's responding, with the exception of Elizabeth May. This is to the point now where people are becoming not only frustrated, they're becoming angry. I mean, these people forget that they work for us. They forget that they come to us and ask for our vote. And I'm going to make sure that they remember when the next election comes how ignored they were. I mean, it is to the point now, Jim, where if you write a letter, you know you're not going to even get a response. And if you do get a response, it's going to be some stupid form letter that oftentimes has no relevance whatsoever. I mean, some of the letters I see from people arguing about not wanting a smart meter or being bullied by hydro or being concerned about their children not being able to go to school. The letters are passionate. People spend time writing them. They spend time researching and reading the science. And they get absolutely no response. It is not only frustrating, it is contemptible. These politicians and these bureaucrats believe that they have no duty, no responsibility whatsoever to respond. I mean, I can give you my own personal experiences, as you know, with things like the fire report. I spent 3 years researching it. I spent several months writing it. And then I spent thousands of dollars printing it, putting it into binders, sending it via registered mail to several politicians. Horgan, Mungle, Trevina, Sonia Furstenau of the Green Party, Adrian Dix, BC Hydro, the BC Utilities Commission. I got not one single response in well over a year. But that's just one example. I think I told you last time about this one person who's been begging for a meeting with Dr. Bonnie Henry. She's our provincial health officer. He's begged for a meeting. He wants to talk about Wi-Fi in schools. He has written, he's begged, he's called for an appointment. And always, she's not available. So in his last request, he says, I will be available anytime, any place that Dr. Bonnie Henry can meet with me. And the response was, she's not available. It is astounding to me that this is going on. And people are writing Horgan about it. People are sitting outside Horgan's office waiting to try to get a hold of him. Jim, it is just astounding to me.
Have you started sitting outside of his constituency office every Friday?
We have been, for the last 3 Fridays, we and a small group have been outside with signs saying that Horgan is ignoring us. We've been getting thumbs up. We've been getting lots of horn honks, a lot of positive reaction. One mother said that she's going to bring a lawn chair and sit outside his office.
Does he ever go there?
Yeah. He's not there. And his constituency staff are rude. If you've ever gone in there and tried to talk with them, they are rude.
Are you surprised at this response?
Yes, I am. I'm very surprised because before he was elected, John Horgan was extremely willing to talk. He helped me in several instances. He helped get the moratorium to stop smart meters through at the UBCM meeting in 2011, I believe it was. He was most helpful. And then he promised, when he was running for premier, to look into the smart meter program. He's well aware of all the problems. Even though he doesn't acknowledge the health problem, he understands that many other people are very concerned about it. And he was very, very concerned about the costs and the fact that he believed that really there weren't very many benefits and that the whole program was put through without any oversight, which was very disturbing to him. And his promise to many of us, and I've got videos of it and I've got letters with it, saying that when he was premier, he was going to have this program reviewed. Since then, he won't even answer an email about it.
What do you think has changed? Has power gone to his head?
I don't know. I have no idea. I could always say he's busy. In fact, I wrote a letter to Minister Mungo last night because I've written to the Attorney General and I wrote to Energy Minister Mungo, among others, about the fact that Itron's meter, Itron says its meter is going to be used on our homes for purposes other than measuring consumption. They're going to put software in there that allows other companies to enter the grid through our smart meters for business purposes. This is illegal. This is not allowed according to the Clean Energy Act or the electric tariff. Both of those laws, which govern the meters and which govern hydro, say that our meters can only be used to measure and report consumption data, period. I wrote to the Attorney General, Eby, and I wrote to Minister Mungo on September 22nd. Not one response from either one of them. And I wrote to Mungo especially last night, basically venting my frustration, saying that normally I would say something like, I understand you're busy and it will take you time to get back. I'm not going to say that anymore. She's had well over a year and hasn't responded to my fire report. I believe she just holds me in contempt, just as she holds the rest of British Columbians in contempt. She is rude, and she forgets that she's working for us. I don't know what the answer is, Jim, and I don't know why it's pervasive. I haven't heard from Sonia First to Know either, and she's in the Green Party. One person wrote a very good letter about her concerns with smart meters, and she had written to Sonia First to Know. And someone else in support of the letter in the Gazette wrote to Sonia First to Know. And Sonia's office wrote back one of the silliest letters I've ever seen, saying that smart meters don't emit radiation. They emit radio waves like your AM radio. I mean, first of all, this is just ridiculous. But secondly, they're giving information that is totally incorrect to people who are expressing concerns. They answered. I mean, you got to give them that. They answered, but their answer was totally incorrect and inept and misleading. But I don't know, Jim. I don't know what's going on here, and I don't know what we can do. And I suspect it's happening with everybody, because I see hundreds of people in the coalition who have written to these people and have had absolutely no answers. So it's not just me. I suspect it's an epidemic.
We'll have more with Sharon Noble right after this.
Grand Portage Resources recently completed the 2018 drill program on its 100% controlled Herbert Gold Discovery property located in the prolific Juneau Belt in southeast Alaska. Drill results are expected through late 2018. Past drill results included numerous multi-ounce gold assays on multiple veins. Grand Portage trading symbols are GPG on the TSX Venture, GPTRF on the OTCQB, and GPB on Frankfurt. For more information, please visit our website, grandportage.com.
I'm Kelly Jennings, CEO of Power Band Solutions. PowerBand is a cloud-based provider of auction, inventory, and finance solutions that make buying, selling, and financing vehicles more efficient. PowerBand Solutions trades on the TSX Venture Exchange symbol PBX and on the OTCQB symbol PWWBF and on Frankfurt symbol 1ZV. For more information, please visit us at powerbandsolutions.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Sharon Noble. Sharon, on your website or an email you sent me, a Chinese province has now banned cell phones and tablets from schools. Why did they do that?
They're doing it because the children's eyes are being harmed. A significant increase in eye problems, and specifically myopia, has been determined to be related to their use of wireless devices in school, to the cell phones and to the tablets. I'm somewhat surprised that they aren't saying that they're finding other health problems, which I believe they probably are. But this province is the second largest province in China. It has 100 million people in it. And they are banning it from every school. They're banning cell phones and tablets. And they're also putting out recommendations that parents limit the amount of exposure to just a few minutes a day. They're advising teachers that homework should be done by hand, that reading should be done with a book, and let's go back to common sense, where children's brains are not being irradiated, where their bodies are not being exposed to damaging signals, and also give them a chance to develop safely. This ban is carried throughout high school. So the scientists who are warning that children's brains and bodies are still developing until they get to be around age 20 or 21 is, I think, part of the reason why this ban is going through high school.
You also have concerns about the Chinese government's phone company Huawei and its expansion into Canada. 2 U.S. senators sent messages to Prime Minister Trudeau urging him not to allow Huawei. What's the big concern about that particular brand of cell phone product?
Well, this is the second one. There was another one. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name, and it was already banned. But the Chinese companies are very closely aligned with the Chinese government. Huawei they know that they don't do anything that the Chinese government doesn't approve them to do. And they have insinuated themselves into every level of telecom business in Canada. I mean, they sell cell phones. If you go into, for instance, Best Buy, you'll see their cell phones. If you buy a Wi-Fi modem, they sell those. And now they're being put into transmitters in the microcells that are outside our homes in support of 5G, and they're working with TELUS to expand 5G throughout the province and throughout the country, as a matter of fact. They are also involved in the major telecom communication systems that are used internationally. And the United States has asked Canada to ban the use of this because Huawei is suspected, along with other Chinese companies, of being involved in hacking. You know, there's been an awful lot of cybersecurity attacks into infrastructure, primarily electrical systems, computer systems throughout North America. And Huawei is thought to be one of the major companies responsible. And the United States is very concerned that secure communications between Canada and the United States and other Western allies could be hacked into. The security would be compromised. So far, I haven't seen any response yet from Canada. Many, for instance, the UK and Australia, have already banned this company. Japan is considering doing it. There may be other companies that I haven't become aware of, but the cybersecurity has become a major issue over the last few years. You know, going into the U.S. Election system, going into banking the Pentagon, you name it. There have been cybersecurity attacks, and many cybersecurity experts believe that the next attack won't be a bomb, won't be a plane crashing into buildings. It will be our grid coming down. CIA, FBI, various experts have warned it doesn't take much for electricity to be down. It doesn't take a very long time before society is brought to its knees. You can see what happens with hurricanes. You don't have clean water. You can't get food. You get cold. There's no hospital. You can't travel. There are major, major problems. Chaos will break out. We have to protect our systems. And TELUS and other companies are just handing the grid over to these Chinese companies, to Huawei especially.
We'll have more with Sharon Noble right after the break.
MGX Minerals is revolutionizing the new energy economy with patented lithium extraction technology, replacing traditional solar evaporation using low-cost, low-energy nanofiltration. The first system of this paradigm shift technology is currently being commissioned. MGX Minerals trades on the CSE, symbol XMG, the OTCQB, symbol MGXMF, and Frankfurt, symbol 1MG. For more information, visit our website, mgxminerals.com.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Sharon Noble. Sharon, does Measurements Canada insist that your electrical meter be digital?
No. Hydro says they do. BC Hydro, in its letters, tells people that they are following Measurements Canada's new accuracy requirements. No, that's not true. I checked with Measurements Canada several years ago when Hydro began saying this. Measurements Canada told me that the only thing they're concerned about is accuracy. They have requirements that every meter, and every scale, whether it's the meter at the gas station, or the scale in your grocery store, or the or meters that measure your electricity or water or gas, have to be periodically checked to make sure they're accurate. And this is what they periodically has to happen. And with analog meters, it would happen at random. Measurements Canada let me go back. Analogs would come in batches. For instance, they would have, say, 1,000. They were being put on brand new homes, and these meters were brand new. They would have been checked for accuracy by the manufacturer or by BC Hydro. Then, in 12 years, those 1,000 meters would have to be recertified for accuracy. And Measurements Canada would say to take a small percentage, say 1%. So they'd take 10 meters, and they'd check those 10 meters to see if they were accurate. If those 10 meters were still accurate, they would say, okay, the rest are certified for another period, 10 years, 12 years, so on and so forth. That's why analogs that are 40 years old are still on homes. They're still accurate. They're still running well. Measurements Canada doesn't care what you have on your home. And this was reconfirmed just this last month, I believe, when a group in Quebec, when their utility gave them the same BS that BC Hydro gives us, saying that the Measurements Canada has new requirements and therefore your analogs have to be removed. They wrote to to Measurements Canada, and they got the same response back that I had been told. No. They don't care what kind of meter. It can be analog. It can be digital. It can be smart meter. It can be anything, so long as it's accurate. So when Hydro comes and says this, people should be saying, test my meter here. I'll pay for you to test it here without removing it from my house It can be done. Hydro should have kept all of the old analog meters so that they could have certified them and put them back on homes of people who want them. But the Clean Energy Act that was pushed through by Clark and Campbell of the Liberals gave us no choice. They said every home will have a smart meter, even though there's no reason for it, even though the smart meters have such a much shorter life and are so much more expensive and have so many problems. They didn't give us a choice. Now, I believe that we have a right, as our class action lawsuit said, under our civil rights, not to be forced to have something on our homes that we believe to be dangerous. We know that these meters emit radiation. Radiation, which is a 2B carcinogen, just like DDT and lead. We know that scientists and even more recent tests are confirming that exposure to microwave radiation can cause many health problems, including cancer. We know that these smart meters invade privacy. We know that they gather data in such a way that the data is visible to the public, is being sent wirelessly so it can be hacked. We know these meters have many design flaws that have caused fires and have damaged appliances and blown off homes during power surges. We've got documentation. I sent in a 600-page report with evidence on this. Now to top it off, we know that Itron is planning on using these smart meters for business purposes. I believe that everyone whether they've got a smart meter or whether they still have their analogs, should be writing to the Attorney General and demanding that these things should not be on our homes. They are illegal based upon this last thing that I mentioned, that Itron is going to be using our meters for commercial purposes other than in addition to just measuring utilization. This is illegal. We shouldn't have to have this, Jim. Yet we are being told, I'll be honest, lies by BC Hydro over and over and over again. I've got a list of the lies that we've been told by BC Hydro about the smart meters. And one very important consideration that involves this is that every time even a qualified electrician removes a meter from the meter base and then stuffs another meter in, there's a chance that the lugs in the base are being stretched. Those lugs are not meant to have meters taken off and on and off and on and off and on. They're meant to hold an analog meter for 40 years. And when those lugs get stretched, when a smart meter has to be taken off every 5 to 7 years, or maybe sooner if the software package breaks down, those lugs are eventually going to be stretched to a point where they have a gap. And when there's a gap, they result in hot sockets that lead to arcing and fires. For many reasons, Jim, we should not be allowing these smart meters to be put on homes. And we should demand that the Clean Energy Act be changed to give us that option. We shouldn't be forced to have these things. Places all over the United States are allowing people to keep their analogs. When Hydro says there aren't any analogs available, that's because when they took them off our homes, they destroyed them. Some of these analogs are virtually brand new, and most of them were still working fine and would work fine for many years to come. They destroyed them so that they could tell people they didn't have any. In the U.S., they're getting them from someplace. In California, New York, Michigan, many big states, people are allowed to keep their analogs. So why can't we?
A researcher wants to hear from you if you've spent any money to protect yourself from microwaves. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. Dr. Magda Havas, who's one of Canada's most dedicated researchers on the topic, is doing a project, and she has asked me to circulate a request for information to be returned to her by October 26th. And she's asking for anybody who has incurred healthcare costs or costs in modifying their homes for putting up shielding, but especially healthcare costs associated with exposure to EMR. She would like to know about it. If you've incurred cancers, if you have an autistic child that you believe is related to exposure to cell phones in pregnancy, or if your autistic child or a child who's suffering from attention deficit disorder is having trouble in school, especially because of exposure to Wi-Fi and you're having to keep him home and having him tutored, or if you've had a miscarriage, sperm deficiencies, if you've got diabetes, Parkinson's, and you believe that it's because of exposure to microwave radiation, Dr. Magda Havas would like to hear about it. She has a list of questions, and it can be found on our website, www.stopsmartmetersbc.com, and it's under the update that's dated October 11th. They can go into the newsletters and go to October 11th newsletters. And the heading for that is Dr. Magda Havas asking for your help. And she would like to hear from people by October 26th. She's not only asking, and she's also asking if there are any healthcare providers who can speak to this, people who are electrically sensitive, who've had to leave their homes. She would like to hear from teachers who are having problems with students about Wi-Fi, or parents who believe that their children are suffering from behavioral problems because of Wi-Fi in schools. Dr. Havas, along with other researchers, are trying very hard to document and provide as much evidence to the authorities such as World Health Organization and Health Canada to get guidelines strengthened and to help provide more information so that the precautionary principle can be employed. Right now, our provinces, for instance, our provincial health officer, does not promote the precautionary principle as far as the microwave radiation is concerned. If she were, she would encourage or force smart meters to be removed from our homes. She would not allow microcells to be put outside her home, just a few feet from bedroom windows. She would not allow Wi-Fi to be in schools. She has the authority to implement the precautionary principle, as does Health Canada. And all of them are ignoring it, even though Canada was one of the first signatories to the International Wing Spread Conference, which developed and wrote the precautionary principle. So again, if anyone who has incurred any problems, any costs, would like to participate and send their information to Dr. Magda Havas, go to our website and to the newsletter dated October 11th.
Sharon, can you tell us if there's anything else that you wanted to talk about this week?
Yes, I would. There's been a lot of discussion recently about the wide disappearance of insects. Insects, as you know, especially ones like bees, our pollinators, react very strongly to exposure to microwave radiation. And there have been a lot of studies recently showing what appears to be a direct correlation between the increased proliferation of microwave radiation in our environment and the disappearance of insects. And the fear is that with the new high millimeter wave technology that is planned to be implemented with 5G technology and those microcells outside our home, that the effect will be even worse. And there's a lot of warnings that not only is this 5G, the millimeter wave, going to be extremely dangerous for insects, but also small animals and especially small children. These waves are going to be everywhere. We won't be able to escape them. They're planning on having it so that people traveling in their cars and out walking and whatever will have full access to things that they want to download if they want to watch a movie or something. I mean, it's absolutely crazy, but they want to provide immediate access to large batches of data. And the way they want to do it is by putting these microcells every place. So this is a major concern.
Sharon, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thank you very much, Jim. I really appreciate the opportunity.
My guest has been Sharon Noble, director of the BC Coalition to Stop Smart Meters. Her website, stopsmartmetersbc.com. If you have any questions for Sharon or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.